Well, hey there, sisters. Welcome back to this episode, this expert interview episode of the Period Whisperer podcast. And I think you're going to find this episode really, really interesting. We are talking about cortisol and the real hormone conversation that we're not having. And I am joined by co founder of several award winning wellness companies and author of the almost out book, Stress Nation, Justin High. Justin, welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, I love what you're doing. We've had some good conversation before this, and I am excited to share this information out with women because I think there's not enough people talking about this area, about kind of the truth underneath. I think the chatter about hormones, right? They get really blamed, our sex hormones, don't they? When really it's often beneath them, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's a cause and effect at play that hasn't been revealed thus
Yeah.
far. And we believe that we have kind of found a very strong connection between cortisol and all the exacerbated symptoms that men and women are experiencing as they go through middle and later life.
Yes. Menopause and menopause, we'll call it, won't we?
Yeah.
Go through.
Yeah, the scientific name is andropause for men and menopause for women. Believe it or not, men and women go through the same symptoms, but women experience them exponentially greater than men. Most men don't realize it. I like to joke that men are Neanderthals, right? We actually don't have any clue about our hormones. Women have been in tune with their hormones since they were going through puberty, right? You are instantly aware when your cycle's going to begin, something's not right. You know,
Yeah.
right? Sorry, guys, gonna throw us all under the bus here. Until our erections don't show up, men have no clue about our hormones, right? We don't know. We just don't know. And that's because we don't have the same nervous system. We don't have the same intuitive built-in genetics that help inform us when something isn't right. All of a sudden, symptoms start showing up, and you really have to hit us over the head with a brick before we realize what those symptoms are. I mean, it really is. And obviously, the first thing that we're worried about is, erectile dysfunction. And of course, there's a thousand solutions for that that have been invented, but nothing really to support women thus far. Or they've been told that it's all in their head. And that is the furthest thing from the truth.
It is, isn't it? Now, tell us first, just you have a really, I think you have a very fascinating backstory. Tell us a little bit about, where this kind of passion or advocacy came for you.
Um, I'm a weird cat, I guess. Whether it be the military in the UK to art school to business school to real estate to Disney Imagineering. I mean, I'm a weird cat, but I like to believe that inherently designed in my DNA is a problem solver. I love solving problems. It doesn't matter what the problem is or what field it's in. If I can get passionate about it, I want to solve the problem.
I love that. I love that. And as a man, we were talking about this before, but as a man talking about like menopause specifically, like I know I hear from a lot of women a lot of pushback on even just hearing men talk about it. Do you have pushback or what's been your experience as a man helping women through this area?
I wasn't on a mission to solve menopause or to solve any kind of disease state that people claim it to be. And I was on this mission to find a solution to cortisol. And through identifying what cortisol is, the cause and effect, my wife got very, very sick with a cortisol disease. I mean, talk about the universe, hitting me over the head. And so the mission became quite personal.
Mhm.
As I was going through the journey, women started calling us saying, your products are solving my biggest problems. My hot flashes have gone away. My libido's come back. My energy's come back. My brain fog has gone away. And it wasn't until we got like roughly 50 pieces of feedback from women in regards to this that we were like, oh my goodness, what have we done? We knew that solving cortisol would affect the endocrine system. And so we went and we actually did clinical studies. We actually did pharmaceutical based studies on it. And we started understanding what we had actually created.
Mhm.
Many drugs actually are on the market today solving a problem that they weren't intended to solve. It just, the solution showed up. And so the pushback for me hasn't been there because the mission is deeply rooted in cortisol.
Mhm.
And again, I didn't start the company because of my wife, but I certainly became more passionate and driven because nothing was working for her.
Mhm.
And so solving for cortisol and supporting that really has made a massive difference in the quality of her life. And so I think that I've avoided the negative pushback because it comes from a place of look, caring and love, not from a place of, you know, I want to be in this movement too and do it. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got to do with there's a real problem. We found the problem. We found a solution to the problem. There's a cause and effect that's not been explained very well in the world today, and it can all be stemmed back to technology. It's pretty linear, very straightforward, and when you go through that process, and I'll explain it on this podcast, it's obvious. And what's happened is there's so much noise, as you say, in the space, and the noise is all about I don't know, solving a symptom, but not the underlying cause. And we found the underlying cause.
Mhm.
And as you know, I wrote a book about it.
Yes.
And typically the books, take 18 to 24 months to go to market, and you're kind of lucky if you get picked up. We wrote the book. We got a meeting with a top New York publisher, and they sent over a contract sight unseen because it was dealing with these major issues that we are dealing with today and understanding why we're suffering. And the book helps explain why we're suffering and how to solve it so that we're not suffering anymore.
Yeah. So you went out with sort of the goal of solving for the problem of why we're having elevated cortisol long term, which
Yep.
inevitably leads to not enough, which is an even bigger problem. And in that process, you learned that kind of this cause and effect of cortisol really has that significant impact on our sex hormones, men and women, but we're going to talk about women today.
Yeah, let's just broaden it. All the hormones.
All the
Uh,
hormones.
we
Yeah.
have 50
Thyroid. Yeah.
plus hormones in our body that we're aware of, right? But we only talk about estrogen, progesterone, testosterone.
Yeah.
Maybe we talk a little bit about HGH and thyroid, but we don't really talk much beyond that.
No. Yeah.
And let me just get to the punchline so that everyone can, stop thinking that we're going to drag this out.
Yeah.
The real simple solution here is if your cortisol is elevated, and when I mean elevated, above normal,
Mhm.
by the time you go to bed, it'll be very difficult to fall asleep. It will be very difficult to stay asleep. And the reason why I'm focusing on now sleep from cortisol is because you make all your hormones in your sleep. So if you're not sleeping, you're not making the hormones that you need to make to function the next day. The reason why everyone's symptoms are exacerbated is because we're not sleeping. So our bodies are operating at a hormone deficit.
Yeah.
And
Every.
if you fix the cortisol, you fix your sleep, you make the hormones you need, and life is wonderful.
Yes.
It's because you're not making the hormones that you need.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, well, I'm on HRT. Great, but HRT doesn't solve for cortisol.
No.
HRT is artificially giving you hormones that you do need, and it's being compromised because you haven't slept because your cortisol's too high. Why is your cortisol too high? It's because we're all addicted to technology and content, which
Mm.
we never used to be.
Yeah.
And so it's that simple. 30 years ago, we didn't have this major problem that we have today.
Yeah.
Why? Because we didn't have the internet, email, social media, and everything else that comes along with it, right? Even Netflix, right? Netflix gives you 24/7 entertainment, right? We didn't have that.
No. We
We
had to
didn't.
wait like
Yeah, well,
one time a week we were going to watch a show and then still sit through 15 minutes of ads in that show and that 30.
right. Or don't forget, Netflix had you could get a DVD in the mail. You had to get it in the mail, right? And you got one or two or three a week. You didn't get like the whole season for Saturday viewing or Saturday night viewing. And so the pace of the world had exponentially accelerated beyond what we were designed to tolerate. And I mean that seriously because we are still human beings. We have not evolved at
Yeah.
the same pace that technology has evolved,
Yeah.
right? We're still pretty much the same humans we were 500, 600, 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
We still need sleep. We should rise when the sun rises. We should go to bed when the sun goes down, give or take an hour or so, right? We need 7 to 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. And if you wake up once in the night, even to use the bathroom or just you woke up once, clinically it's defined as a bad night's sleep. And you're interrupting your body's ability from, the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus, to generate the hormones that you need to function the next day. Now, I'm saying this very loosely. There may be some doctors or endocrinologists listening. Yes, you can make some hormones during the day as well, but the majority of your hormones are made at night.
Yeah.
And if you are going through menopause, right, if you were getting the 7 to 8 hours of sleep that you need, your body would make the hormones that you need in order to minimize the symptoms that you have. They might not go away completely, but they would definitely minimize.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how you feel when you're on holiday. Just go there for a moment. When you're on holiday, right? There's no work, there's no stress, there's no nothing. You kind of throw all caution to the wind. Most people, their libido comes back, their smile comes back, their energy comes back, their mental clarity comes back. The second they come home, all that stress weighs on them, cortisol goes up, and it all goes away.
Yeah. In my practice, I appreciate the way you've explained that. And in my practice, I always think it's so important to recognize that, like, obviously, cortisol is not innately bad. We need a certain amount of it, but it's our body is designed to use cortisol in short term, not long term. So when we're talking about, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, but when we're talking about this concept behind technology that you talk about in Stress Nation,
Right.
we're talking about chronic long-term stress that's never going away because we're in front of this on top of the other stresses that we have in life. And that's what's really suppressing the hormone production. That's what's disrupting the sleep. And the other layer to that I always find, Justin, is when, like, our liver still has to metabolize that cortisol. It has to move through the load of that. And so it's going to back up the other hormones anyway. So it's not even just this one problem of it's up, so we can't sleep, so we can't get these other things. It's now the body has so much more to do, and we wonder why we're exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, let's not throw cortisol under the bus, right? Let's be cortisol's PR firm for a second, right? It's actually a really good hormone, right?
Yeah.
It's a fabulous hormone. It's needed for metabolism. It's needed for immune response. It's also your fight or flight response. That's where it gets its bad rap from, the fight or flight response.
Yeah.
It's basically your body's alarm system. That's really what it is.
Mhm.
And it's designed to get you in an elevated, alerted state when something naughty or bad is going to happen or around you, right? God forbid, the fire alarm goes off, your cortisol is going to spike right away, right? Then your body releases adrenaline, and that's the action hormone, right? So cortisol as a fight or flight is really the alarm system, and adrenaline is the let's jump into action mode. Okay. Where people get a lot confused, and it's very easy to confuse the two, is anxiety versus, high cortisol. Cortisol you can measure. Anxiety is kind of what you feel. It's a psychological state, where cortisol is an actual hormone. It's a biological state. All right. So they're somewhat interchangeable in modern language and just generic vernacular. But that is really the difference. Anxiety is felt, cortisol is measured. Um, but cortisol is the reason why you're not sleeping.
Mhm.
Anxiety is the reason you're not sleeping. They act very similar, right? When you're in bed and you've got monkey brain and you can't stop thinking, your cortisol's too high. You haven't got yourself at a low natural level of cortisol in order to have the melatonin release that enables you to get ready and prepare for sleep and then fall asleep and stay asleep.
Yeah.
And don't forget, you go through deep, light, and REM cycle. That's just one sleep cycle. And that rinse and repeats about 4, 5 times a night.
Mhm.
The majority of that happens in the first cycle, slightly less in the second, slightly less in the third, and so forth. And so it's important that you keep those cycles going because you make your hormones in those deep and those REM cycles.
Yeah.
And so when people say, how do you know if, like rebalance is working for you? Just track your sleep. Really that simple. Don't bother tracking cortisol because there's inherent problems with tracking cortisol, but track your sleep. If your sleep is improving, it's working. You're doing the right thing, whether it's in your lifestyle choices or whether it's in, basically your work or whether you're supplementing and supporting the product.
Yeah. I love this. So, what you and I know and what research tells us is that if we can bring down our cortisol throughout the day and even in the evening before we go to bed, we can sleep better, which is going to allow better production of our hormones, which is
Yep.
going to significantly reduce what we are. comfortably thinking are perimenopause or menopause or andropause symptoms, right? So if
Yeah, your body is making only so much estrogen and progesterone and testosterone as you go through
yeah.
perimenopause, right? And you need every drop of that,
Mhm.
right, to
On any
support the
roadblock.
process.
No
Yeah, right.
road.
And if you're not sleeping, you're not making any. So we know that when progesterone and estrogen go down, right, your symptoms are exacerbated. That's why doctors put you on HRT,
Yeah,
right? Whatever version of HRT they put you on,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because there's literally thousands of iterations and versions of it. But as they put you on it, your hormones go up and your symptoms diminish. Well, if you fix your sleep, you can use less or none.
yeah, absolutely. Might not need it at all. So I know you have a really cool product I'm excited to talk about that helps sort of assisting in this reduction of cortisol. And I want to dig into that. But before we talk about that, will you share some of your favorite kind of foundational health habits that you kind of feel like are maybe your no matter what for reducing and managing your own cortisol load naturally?
Wow. Yeah, so many things to talk about. Seriously. I know it's very cheesy and it sounds like for some people it's, you know, impossible to obtain, but find your joy. Find your joy. It's amazing how cortisol reacts to your emotional state. And if you're in a place of love and happiness and joy, guess what? Everything calms down. It's whether it's hugging your kids, your partner, your pets, your friends. Physical touch has been scientifically proven time and time and time again to lower cortisol.
Yeah.
And so I start off my morning every day with my wife. We go to the gym, we work out, we act like teenagers in the gym, we do stupid shit, and we have so much fun. And people are just like, "What are you guys on?" And honestly, it's finding that magic, that spark. Yeah, I'm head over heels. Been with my wife 25 years, and I still look at her like I have a mad crush and like I'm a teenager.
Oh, I
And so to
love
me, it's
that.
whatever we can do to play and do that, and that helps her with her issues, her medical issues. If her day doesn't start off like that, it can spiral really quickly because of her high anxiety and cortisol levels. So it's very important for her, for me to show up in a space that is nothing but loving and playful.
Mhm.
And play, it's magic.
Yeah.
Play is magic.
I
So yeah,
I love that
like
you did that. For any of my listeners who've been listening for a while, they know I shove this down their throat a lot. I'm like, you have to find the joy, the
yeah,
spark.
you have to find the joy and you have to play.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be, I mean, literally, I'm 50. I could basically act like I'm 12 half the time when it comes to my wife and my kids. And it's all about playing and having fun because that love and that lightness shows up throughout the day. You walk away going, oh, yeah, that feels good. Now the heavy stuff doesn't feel so heavy.
Yeah, and I mean, and I think it's a practice. My wife is really good at being playful as well, and it feels like a lot of us in this world have gotten away from remembering how to play. Like we had recess in school growing up, but then all of a sudden recess went away, and we all forgot and just got a little bit
Yeah.
of a pick up the you know what. So
Absolutely. So playing. Other things are a little bit more practical, right? So, the obvious ones, people say, "What's the best exercise? What's the best diet?" And it's the same cheesy answer, whichever one you're going to actually stick to,
yeah.
right? It's really that simple. I'm a big believer in farm to table,
Mm,
natural foods, organic foods. Stay away from everything processed, fast
yeah.
foods, all that crap. When it comes to exercise, really, you can. If you're not a big exercise person, don't worry about it. Just be very mindful of what you consume in your body,
Mm,
right? Simply consume less calories than you burn,
yeah.
then you won't have an issue. And um, it isn't rocket science, but it's just spending a week or two tracking what you consume, the calories that are going in, and the time in which they're going in. Okay. When it comes to energy, exercise and energy, I can't stress enough. Please stop fasting.
Yeah.
Intermittent fasting is the worst thing you could possibly do. Unless you are medically diagnosed as being obese, it has been proven to support that. But for the average individual person, the average person, it's actually doing far more harm.
Mm.
Why?
It's right.
Well,
Cortisol.
when you wake up, it's really straightforward. Your body has enough basically energy in it to survive 20 minutes.
Yeah.
As soon as the 20 minutes of energy has been consumed, your body needs fuel. It goes to the next available fuel source. It takes the body like 3 minutes to start breaking down muscle. It takes about 4 to 5 hours to start breaking down fat. So you're not burning fat. You're burning off yesterday's gains that you got from whatever exercise you did. So
Mhm.
intermittent fasting does not work.
Well, I mean, there's, I think, some clarity there. It's like if you're eating 3 meals a day and maybe a snack, depending on how your time is, there's a fast in between those meals for the rest and digest. And if you eat your last meal at 6 and then you eat your go to bed and you wake up and you eat your first meal at 8, I mean, that's a 14-hour fast. So you're getting the fast. We don't need to extend the fast and stress the body out.
Absolutely. And of course, athletes where they're tracking their macros and they're understanding the biology, whole different ball game, no issues there. But I'm talking about the average individuals that's trying to get on a trendy bandwagon. Don't do that. You're
Yeah.
doing so much damage to your body and
Yeah.
you're not getting it. Kind of like GLP-1s,
Mm.
right? Same kind of conversation there. GLP-1s are fabulous. They have an application that makes a lot of sense. They're changing people's lives. The second you come off it, the weight comes back. But the new studies are showing that you're losing muscle just as much as you're losing fat.
Yeah.
It's much harder to get that muscle back, especially the older you get. And once you lose those fat pads in your face, they don't come back. That can only be restored with filler. And that comes from other businesses I'm expert in. Like there are issues with all of this stuff. And so it's a shame that we're in a world which is all about marketing without actually understanding all the consequences and all the information, which is also where HRT is going. HRT is the new Botox. And doctors that are not endocrinologists are prescribing HRT. I'm a huge proponent of HRT,
Yeah.
but it has to be prescribed for the right reason by the right doctor,
Yeah.
not just given randomly because it's the trendy thing to do.
Or ordered online with a questionnaire, which is always appalling to me as a functional practitioner. I'm like, before we add more to the party, we need to make sure that the pathways that the party has an exit strategy, before we.
Yeah, so it's, I know I can get on a bandwagon about a lot of things. Essentially, the whole concept here is exercise,
Mhm.
lift weights. Please lift weights. You don't have to lift a ton, but lift weights. It's the only way to strengthen your bones. It's the only way to strengthen your muscles.
Mhm.
Have fun, play, big play that brings love and joy and happiness to your heart. Be maniacal for sleep.
Mhm.
Literally, it's the most important thing above exercise and above eating. It's sleeping. If you do not get the sleep, you will always be plagued with these issues.
Yeah.
You have to sleep. So I am very, very careful about what time I go to bed and what time I wake up. And it's now like clockwork. My
Mhm.
body just knows it's time for bed. I can't stay up 30 minutes beyond when it knows I should be going to bed. My body just says, no, got to go to bed. So you can train your body. Your body just knows what it needs. And if you listen to it, it will tell you. And so go to bed so that you can expect to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, right? Don't go to bed at 2 in the morning knowing you have to get up for work at 6. That's going to be really, really tough on your body.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people say, well, I have to, I got work, I got these. Great, but set yourself up for success. If you're going to compromise your sleep, you're going to compromise your health. And so those are the big things to help keep things in line. Of course, blue light, screens, all this stuff before bed, don't do it because it raises your cortisol. Don't exercise before bed. Why? Exercise increases your cortisol. So there's a whole bunch of different tips that you can go into. But if you'd really, really focus on sleep hygiene, and understand what that means, keeping your room in a certain temperature, sleep naked, don't sleep in polyester, artificial materials that elevate your body temperature, try and ground. There's literally a whole slew of things that you can do. And I mentioned a lot of those in my book. And I'm sure we'll talk more on the podcast about them, but there are literally wonderful guidelines that help you set up for success that don't involve technology.
Yeah. So then here we are. I imagine for the people listening, I mean, I talk about these things that you just shared, the joy, the real food, the movement, the sleep hygiene, like this. I just think this is no matter what you're talking about, it has to be the foundation of our health. So I think the women listening understand these foundations. If they're doing these foundations, and yet we know we still live in this stress nation, what is the solution that you have created, and how have you seen it help people that can be a nice bonus tool to help? the women out there listening?
Rebalance.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the product that we created is a supplement lozenge system. It's made up of all adaptogens. So you things like maca, ashwagandha, L-theanine, magnesium, zinc, wonderful ingredients that have been proven, but they're in a lozenge delivery system. And basically, they taste like mints, and you suck on them throughout the day, anywhere from 2 to 6 lozenges a day. Take them like you would a cough sweet for a sore throat. And what they're doing is they are supporting your body because let's face it, technology is not going away. And with
Hmm.
most of us, I mean, look at us. We're on screens right now talking about how bad technology is, but it's the way that we communicate to the audience and to your listeners to be able to support them. And so technology is not going away. We just need to learn how to integrate it into our life without it running our life.
Hmm.
And so the lozenges actually help keep you at a more even level. It brings it from being elevated cortisol into normal ranges of cortisol and supports it. When we did our clinical studies, the women had tried almost everything and nothing was working for them to kind of mitigate their symptoms. And the study shows that we had 100% efficacy, meaning every single woman in the study saw benefit,
Hmm.
right? They were on in the study. The average reduction in hot flashes was 80%. There were no side effects reported, no adverse events reported. Libido came back, hair, skin, and nails improved, mental clarity improved, recovery improved, energy levels improved, mood improved, and of course, sleep improved. And we're talking anywhere from 80% to 60% on all those categories. Everyone saw significant improvements. And it's really the heartwarming testimonials that we get on a daily basis, like, you've saved my life. You've changed my life. You've saved my marriage. My kids like me again. I'm me again. And all this stuff that comes through that gives us goosebumps and helps drive us to continue to spread the message because the solution was quite straightforward. Cortisol is the master hormone. If it's pissed off, it's going to stop all the hormones from being produced, and therefore you're not going to feel like yourself the next day. And the more days that that happen in a row, the worse you feel.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the bull in the china shop, isn't it? It's just going to come in and do its mess until it's done.
Going to
Until
do until it's done. But the key thing with rebalance for us was understanding that the body has metabolism, and a lot of companies have forgotten about that.
Mhm.
So you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Most people do, right? That means you need to refuel your body, right? Every 4 to 6 hours. You have pain medication, take every 4 to 6 hours. Flu, cold medication, every 4 to 6 hours. There's a reason your body utilizes what you put in it. So to be able to control cortisol, which is a 24-hour hormone, you need to constantly be taking something to support it, to take the edge off. And again, they're not, it's like an Altoid. Put an Altoid in your mouth and suck on it every 4 to 6 hours. That's what rebalance is basically doing. But it's filled with adaptogens and wonderful herbs and roots that have been proven for centuries to be efficacious and effective. And then, of course, we did our own scientific study. We didn't just take other people's studies. We actually tested our product. So we know that it works. And we've done 7 studies, 4 of which are IRB. We were tested by independent lab, Sleep Score Labs. They are the largest independent sleep laboratory in the country with 200 to 300 IRB studies under their belt. And we're in the top 5% of the products they've ever tested.
That's amazing. And can you talk about the concept behind the lozenge versus a pill or any other way to take a supplement?
We just looked at what the market was or what the government was recommending and what the market was showing. And gummies are filled with sugar.
Hmm.
And even the ones that aren't filled with sugar, they're like candy and people just pop them like left, right, and center.
Hmm.
And so we actually did a study, a melatonin study. And we took our product with our delivery system as a lozenge and compared it to a melatonin gummy or a melatonin pill.
Hmm.
And the results were published in a medical journal. And the results showed that we were 75% faster acting,
Hmm.
300% more bioactive than the leading competing product,
Hmm.
and we outlasted all the other products by 33%. And this is tested in terms of blood, right? So this was a pharmaceutical assay test that absolutely testing the blood and the levels of melatonin in the blood. And we could see that we were faster, longer lasting, and at a much higher potency in the body, even though, you know, everything was the same. All three were the same levels of melatonin, but the
Mhm.
delivery system was very, very, very important. We know that the best delivery is a subcutaneous injection or an IV, right, directly into the blood. That's a drug. The next best available delivery systems are nasal sprays or lozenges. And we know most people don't like spraying things in their nose. It's not comfortable, not pleasant, especially if you had to do it 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
So we opted for something that was far more consumer friendly.
Yeah.
And if you remember back in the days of COVID, the CDC and the FDA recommended a zinc lozenge. It wasn't a zinc pill and it was not a zinc gummy. It
Yeah.
was very much a zinc lozenge. And so we're like, okay, since we came out in the same period of time, we developed this through COVID. We're like, we'll take their cues.
Yeah. And do the lozenge. Yeah.
And they were right.
Because I've heard you, I've also, and I have to bring this up because I've heard you mention this before about what the most common thing found in, is it porta potties is? Did you tell me this?
Yeah, well, 90 to 95% of supplements never actually enter the body,
Yeah.
right? They go in and they get urinated out.
Yeah.
But in porta potties, the number one product found are whole supplements that just go straight through the body.
That aren't properly broken down by the gut because of the product or because of the gut dysbiosis, whatever the reason. So
And
those,
that was told to me by one of our chief medical officers, and I was blown away when they told me that. I was like, no way.
yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's really crazy. Okay, so now we have a solution that you guys have provided. You've had all this research around it, so many
Mhm.
wonderful testimonials. So for anyone listening, when this is one of our great options to have as a tool, if you are doing the things, I think these foundational pieces are so important. Now you have a great tool that can be used a couple times a day, or when you know you're feeling it, or to really rectify that sleep in these lozenges. And there's a couple different types of lozenges, are there?
Yeah, they essentially do the same thing. There's a lozenge for everyone. We call that the mellow mint, right? Because everyone's high, stressed, anxiety. We want to bring everyone down into normal ranges. So we call it mellow mint. So anyone, literally 16 and onwards, really, anyone can take it. Um, then we have Meno for menopause, Meno mints, and those are for any woman experiencing the symptoms of perimenopause. And then
Mhm.
we have man mints for, again, gentlemen. The ingredients are slightly different. There's bacopa oat straw and ingredients that calm the nervous system down in the Meno mints, which is what we're looking for. In the man mints, we've got ingredients like testo surge and honey goatweed that support more testosterone.
Mm.
And I know a lot of women are like, I need more testosterone. There's no testosterone in the product, right? There's no testosterone in the product. And women can't absorb honey goat weed, right? They can't absorb it just like men can't absorb iron,
Yeah.
right? From a multivitamin. So there are reasons for it, but they'll both do the same thing.
Mhm.
Don't get caught up on the different brands. No, understand that what we're doing is calming cortisol down and
Mm.
helping you get to sleep and stay asleep so that your body can make the hormones naturally, because it certainly can.
Yes, if given half a chance, the body can heal itself. That's something I learned in school around functional health, and I do believe it is true, especially when we're in these age boxes. Still, there's a lot of opportunity for the body to do what it knows how to do all on its own. We just have to get in the.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I know plenty of women that are in menopause, right? And I don't want to get caught up in the vernacular, but we might as well educate everyone. Perimenopause is when your symptoms start to show up, your cycle becomes irregular. Once you've had no cycle for 365 days,
Gotcha.
on the 366th day, you've officially entered menopause, and that's it. You're postmenopausal.
Oh,
Menopause is one day,
yep.
right? And everyone keeps identifying it in different ways, but that's the medical term.
Yeah.
I
It's
know
the
plenty of
retirement
women.
party of your ovaries. That's the retirement party
It's
day
a
of
retirement party, right?
post-retirement. Yeah.
And so we've seen, and this is crazy. So we've seen women who are in perimenopause, right, thinking they were through it, get their cycle back with
Mm,
rebalance,
yes.
right? Right? Not that that is a, for solid women go, oh my God, I don't want to go through this thing twice, right? I get the fear associated with that. Totally understand that. But it's your body's artificially being placed into perimenopause because of the stress and anxiety and lack of sleep that you're experiencing as a human being.
Yeah.
That's a red flag, people. That's a red flag. But I know plenty of women that have gone through perimenopause, they're postmenopausal, and they're absolutely thriving. absolutely thriving and sleeping and doing great,
Yeah.
right? It's not like you have to go on HRT. Again, it's a great solution for the right people for the right reasons. It's not a one-stop fix for everybody, which is how it's being marketed right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Justin, this I feel like you've given us a lot to really think about it and a pathway to understanding more of the root cause of what's happening, and that's always more long term. Do you have one, I know and because you've given us a lot, I know I'm asking again, but do you have any a raw, unfiltered piece of advice for anyone left not worrying about what they have to say or think about it? Like give it to us straight. What is the most important thing you think women in this transitioning time need to hear from you right now?
You're beautiful, you're perfect just the way you are. You are not broken. This is a beautiful rite of passage like puberty is for every human being on the planet. And everyone that's fear-mongering should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, I love that. So tell us where we can find your book when it comes out or buy it for pre-sale. You know, I know you have a really great kind of perimenopause free training happening. Can you tell us where to find you and where to learn more?
Absolutely. So you can find the book at stressnationbook.com. And yeah, if you go to book bonuses, we have a free perimenopausal survival guide, which is literally 5 emails that get sent to you each day for 5 consecutive days and kind of give you a little bit of education around it. Absolutely free, nothing to pay for that. And we also have a free cortisol stress health reset program that you can sign up for. It's about a $1,200 value that we're offering completely for free. Um, and that launches the same day the book comes out across the country nationwide, which is September 16th. You can pre-order the book today on Amazon through our website and start getting some of those free materials, the perimenopausal guide right away. If you'd like to try the supplements, go to rebalancehealth.com, and just pick the mint that speaks to you. We offer a 30-day money back guarantee, and you can hold us to it. We do. We give people their money back if they don't work for them. And I must be honest, the most returns that we do on that are people that didn't even open the package.
Mm.
You get a lot of return product that wasn't open when people say it didn't work for me. It's not going to work for you if you don't take it, people. So we're happy to, we're very user friendly, but yes, it does work. We've got tons of testimonials on the product. It's recommended by thousands of doctors across the country that sell and promote it at their practices as well. So I'm just really honored for the privilege to speak to you and to share this information and kind of demystify what the world has kind of made overly complex unnecessarily right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you so much for being here, Justin. You have a big heart to help, and it comes across in how you talk and what you've done already in the world. So thank you so much for all of your advice and support today. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me. I so appreciate you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, sisters, go and check out these websites. Grab that perimenopause survival course. I think that's a wonderful place to start. Focus on this new beautiful tool you have to reduce the cortisol and be more in your life and not just less on a scale. We'll catch you in the next episode.